The aeronautics sector has become more sensitive to the environment. At ILA Berlin, which took place a few weeks ago, the key words were clean skies and sustainability. This was no coincidence. The aviation industry is striving to cut CO2 emissions in half by 2050, while noise levels are expected to drop by 65%. As a result, new engines and new sources of energy have become very trendy. We visited Pratt & Whitney's booth to discuss their Gear turbofan engine. In service since 2016, it currently powers the A320neo and 4 other aircraft platforms, including the C series. It is said to be one of the most efficient engines on the market.
It burns 16% less fuel than the engines of today. It emits 3,200 metric tons less of carbon into the air. Emissions is 50% reduced, so less nitrous oxides into the air. The noise footprint is reduced by 75%. So for example, if you're flying out of LaGuardia Airport out of the United States, 500,000 less people would hear the engine.
The magic behind this is in the engine's gear.
So there's a gear that's between the fan and the turbo machinery in the back of the engine. Allows the fan to turn slow. With the fan turning slow, you can bypass lots of air through the back of the engine. That gives you a highly efficient engine from a propulsive efficiency standpoint. So big diameters, high bypass ratio, the amount of air that goes around the actual core of the engine is really why this engine's more efficient.
This results in reduced emissions and a lot of savings. The company says the engine helped save airlines 30 million gallons of fuel since it went into service. But for the DLR, the German Aerospace Center, the sector can do better.
Which is to a certain extent already sustainable in a way. But of course we can do better in terms of fuel consumption, in terms of noise, emissions, in the whole product life cycle, end of life, disposal, recycling, etc. A couple of issues and where we can do better than today, but we are already on a good way, I think. Where there may be a new system, electric light could be one, which could be more sustainable. We don't know it today because we have to do it first and then we know more about it.
While waiting for the first electric commercial flights to take off, various research projects are currently on trial to make our skies cleaner. One of them, led by Bauhaus Luftfahrt, focuses on cleaner alternative fuels. The idea is how to most efficiently convert solar energy into liquid hydrocarbon fuels and use it in current engine technology.
The idea is we use the solar energy, but not through biomass cultivation first, but directly to produce fuels. And the principle is you have the sun, and the sun is shining on these collectors, and they are focusing on a reactor, a thermochemical reactor, and this thermochemical reactor is heated up and drives the primary reaction. And you feed carbon dioxide and water into the reactor, and the carbon dioxide and the water is split into more reactive, high-energy compounds, synthesis gas it's called. And the synthesis gas is then used through more or less conventional technologies to produce, in the end, hydrocarbon fuels.
Boeing is also working on new planes that could fly on biofuels.
We have what we call the 777 Echo demonstrator that we're working with FedEx on. This is where we'll try some new ideas out. It's going to fly on 100% biofuels, for example. Most airplanes today that are flying on biofuels, it's a smaller percentage.
Advantages of such energy sources in terms of the greenhouse gas balance are real, but the economic equation will have to be solved before widespread deployment is possible. For the moment, renewable jet fuels remain far more expensive than conventional ones.